Good morning. It is James from survivalpunk.com. I fucked that intro up because I'm not driving to work. Um, it is a Saturday at 7 o'clock, 56 degrees. I'm off work today and I'm recording an episode over the weekend so that Patreon gets back to having their episode a day early and everybody is happy. If I don't record an episode today, things would get squirrely on Monday, and I want to get ahead. I like being ahead on episodes. Today we're going to talk about EMPs, myth versus reality. We're going to dig into that pretty good today. Should be a really good episode. Before we get into that, though, let's take a listen to our morning theme music.
Tires screech on the battered street, trash fires burning up the heat. Potholes deep enough to drown my soul. The world's been eaten by a black hole. DIY to survive and stay awake. Patch the holes before we break. No saviors coming, no heroes rise. We prep together under pitch black skies.
And we're back. If you're wondering, no, I did not get a ticket yesterday when I was pulled over. If you've been listening to the show a while, you know that one of my headlights was out, so I've been driving with my brights on for months now. The cop flashed me with those brights and then whipped it around and followed me. And on top of having my brights on, because I would have had a headlight out otherwise, there is a light that illuminates your license plate, and that was out. And I did not get a ticket. I have to fix those things today. Should be easy. I just haven't got around to it. But anyway, EMPs. Let's see. We've all seen. There's movies and there are television shows. Jericho, fantastic show, by the way. Every prepper's seen the movie scene. Bright flash, and every car dies on the highway. How true is that? Quick intro. EMP, electromagnetic pulse. They can come from nuclear detonation, solar flare, coronal mass ejection, or directed energy weapon. What an EMP actually does. An EMP isn't a fireball. It's a wave of electromagnetic energy. And it comes in different types. So the nuclear type is a high altitude detonation that hits wide regions. So if you have a nuclear weapon, when they detonate, they give off an EMP pulse. Depending on where you detonate that, you can maximize its EMP power versus destructive power. Detonating a nuclear weapon high altitude does shit in the ionosphere, and it spreads the EMP pulse. Solar storm type, natural, slower, but can fry the grid's power lines. Localized weapon types, limited range, usually for military targets. Strength, altitude, and grounding all matter. It's not one size fits all destruction. I think that was I need to watch that Homestead movie. I've heard some good things about it. It's right up my alley. I mean, I need to watch it. So we're going to tackle a couple myths in this episode. Myth number 1 is everything electronic dies instantly. Hollywood movies show an EMP as a global off switch. Lights flicker, planes fall, everything digital dies. The reality depends on the strength, distance, and what device it's connected to. What the device is connected to. So, I know you guys have seen this. Especially in, man, I'm going to tear apart this EMPs in this episode. Hold on. I kind of want to just talk about it for a second. I feel like Yes, I still have some respiratory things. I feel like some preppers, when you get into prepping, generally something will spark it, or you will fixate on something, right? You'll either be like a financial prepper and you realize that this whole fucking card game can collapse at any time. Like, it is such a fucking like shit show the way our global monetary system is. Or you can get into like obviously EMP. There are a lot of EMP preppers, and some of them take this shit too far. Like, they get real worried about EMPs. That's what they fixate on. Like, if you remember Doomsday Preppers, they're like, I'm prepping for blah, 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 blah. I feel like, in reality, most of us are just prepping for everything, right? In limited quantities, right? Like, we realize that a lot of these things could go wrong. And by being a general purpose prepper, you're better suited to survive most of these things, right? I don't think any preppers are prepping for meteor strike, total world ending apocalyptic events, because you just can't, right? Unless you're fucking Elon Musk and you're building a spaceship to leave the planet. Like, oh, meteor's coming. Peace out, bitches. Unless that's you. And Elon, if you're listening, I'd love to have you on the podcast. So I really feel like some level of preppers just need to back off. And that's kind of what some of this episode is going to be. Is that you don't... I just really feel like it's a rabbit hole that is a mostly waste of time. Not going to lie. That if you go down this rabbit hole, it is a money sink, a time sink, and you're not going to be well prepared for most events. So, scale matters. A high altitude nuclear EMP could hit a continent, but intensity drops with distance. Local EMP, why is my country coming out? A local EMP weapon might only affect a few square miles. So, a lot of times, people will be afraid about one EMP like taking out the world. That's not going to happen. You would need several. I think Jericho got that a lot more right, in that it was a lot of nuclear devices that took out America, right? They were all over the place. That's a lot more sense. Although they weren't airborne, right? Like, they were in the back of moving vans and shit. And I really think that 1 second after got a lot of shit wrong. And that's kind of taboo. There are a lot of preppers that fucking live and die by that book. What's actually vulnerable? Long conductive lines, power grid, telephone lines, antennas act like antennas that channel EMP energy. Tiny isolated devices, like a flashlight in your drawer, are less affected. Big targets, power plants, transformers, and communication hubs. What was it? It was a blood monitor or something in 1 second after that went out. That's probably bullshit. Whatever that device is probably would have been fine. I really feel like, I know it's fiction. I know it served a point of a story. I didn't really love the main character in 1 second after. Didn't like the guy. And I also feel like if that was my daughter with diabetes, she would have made it a much longer time. I'm just saying. I think we would have made it a long time. Obviously, I'm a prepper and he's not. I would have had a mass storage of insulin. I would have anyway. I'm not gonna sit here and yell at the book like I would have done this so much more different. It's easy to It's easy to do that, right? But it does have value in getting you to think and getting you to prep. I just think that over prepping on EMP is a bad idea. So you got to think a lot of your small electronics are probably going to be fine, right? Your cell phone would probably be fine. Your insulin pump, probably fine. Your pacemaker, probably fine. Probably, right? I feel like people were just dying. People with pacemakers, everyone died. Myth number 2 is really going to be good. I didn't have a chance to dig into this a whole lot, but there was an EMP commission testing, U.S. government, 2008 to 2017. Many devices survived, especially unconnected ones. So kind of the more surface area something is taking up, the more vulnerable it becomes, right? So cell phone in your pocket, probably fine. Flashlight in a drawer, probably fine. Your router and your desktop plugged into the power lines in your house, probably not fine, right? There's a lot of probables, right? Distance, like we said, makes a big difference. So if you are far away from the blast, there's so many variables, but I would say that a lot of small unconnected devices are probably fine. Also, old tech, vacuum tube radios, analog systems tend to shrug off EMPs. No, I mean, when's the last time any of y'all owned an old radio? Like, I've owned an old transistor radio and an old tube TV. Obviously, it's hard to think about it, but they haven't been gone that long. As an adult, I remember working a Black Friday at a Walmart where my job was to stand next to the pallet of fucking tube TVs, right? The old CRT TVs, and put them in your shopping cart. Hello, you'd like a TV? Here. Granted, that was probably this is only like probably 2009 or something. Right? Like, it was probably somewhere in there. I was about the end of it though, right? After that, it did transition. You can get an old style TV at like the Goodwill for so cheap. Maybe not the worst prep in the world to have anymore. So EMP doesn't destroy everything. It mostly fries what's plugged in, connected, or wired together. Myth number 2. Cars will stop in the streets. Jericho and 1 Second After both were very big on this. The Day After and Jericho show cars dying mid-road, highways littered with dead vehicles. Dramatic, but mostly wrong. What the testing shows. The EMP Commission and Department of Energy tested 37 vehicles from 1986 to 2002. About 90% kept running. I'm going to let that sink in. Although the way that I edit out the silences, it's probably gone. Just know there was supposed to be a dramatic pause there. About 90% of vehicles tested kept running. The few that stalled restarted immediately. The car's metal body acts as a mini Faraday cage. Limited protection. Modern vehicles, modern ECUs, engine control units, are shielded by design. Plastic parts and poor grounding can increase vulnerability, but not total failure. That's true. An older car that is mostly metal probably will protect better. Newer cars have better shielding, but less metal. Worst case, dashboard glitch, stalling sensors, not an instant death sentence. After the pulse, electronic charging stations might fail, but gas cars with fuel in the tank could still run. The biggest challenge, fuel logistics, not electronics. Your car is more likely to run out of gas and get killed by an EMP. So the gas stations are all electronic and have electronic pumps that may or may not work at all. But the actual pump may or may not be fried. The lines running power to it probably are fried. So that's a big one, right? I really feel like that's the big like prepper thing, right? Like, oh god, my car is going to be fried. And there's a lot of push in the prepper world to get back to older, more reliable cars. And I'm not gonna like discourage the idea. I have worked begrudgingly. We know that I'm not the happiest mechanic, but I have worked on many cars over the years, and a lot of older cars are so much easier, especially as a novice, to work on, right? Changing a starter in a 76 Oldsmobile where you can fucking crawl into the engine and stand up is a lot easier than changing a starter on, what was it, my wife's old car? My wife had a car that like I had to remove multiple parts to be able to like wiggle and drop the starter out of the wheel well. I had to remove the wheel. And the wheel well cover to be able to wiggle it and jiggle it over and then finally drop it out the wheel well. What a pain in the ass. So I'm not going to knock you for wanting to have older vehicles that are easier to work on and definitely even more reliable. But I feel like having the mindset that your car is 1,000% going to fail if an EMP goes off and really stressing and worrying about it is not the best method. Having more fuel storage is probably just the better takeaway. Let's go on to myth number 3. And we're going to go do 3 myths today, and then we're going to wrap this up. Myth number 3. Phones, laptops, and electronics become paperweights. The fear. Preppers worry that an EMP will nuke all data and kill every device. Reality. Small, unconnected devices are surprisingly resilient. Why some survive. Devices not plugged in or connected to long wires have very little exposure area. The shorter the circuit, the smaller the pulse effect. The grid that powers and connects them is more likely to fail than the device itself. Vulnerability by type. Plugged in equals risk. Surge travels through power lines. Charging. Risk. It's an open circuit. Airplane mode or turned off. Safer. Yeah, but generally the thing is, EMPs aren't scheduled, right? You're not like, oh, the EMP is about to go off. Let me go ahead and turn my device on airplane mode. If you randomly happen to have it on airplane mode, then the chances, or off, your chances are better. But that's just so random happenstance that that's not a strategy that we can really optimize here. Flash memory and SSDs are usually fine. Wi-Fi routers, modems, and desktops are toast, too connected. I mean, if you look at my desktop, like it's a desktop and like a modem and a router, and it's a lot of connected devices all sitting right there with a lot of long wires. They're all toast. Faraday cage insurance. Store an old phone or tablet in a metal ammo can. It's simple, effective insurance. Radios, GPS units, and small solar chargers, easy to shield, worth keeping protected. I mean, if you're going to an Army surplus store, you can get an ammo can for really cheap. On Amazon, you can also get an ammo can for really cheap. If you upgrade your phone and you don't trade in the old one, and the old one works fine, and you want to kind of build it towards survival things, manuals, PDFs, and tools like that, it's one of those things that I can't really fault you for, right? Like, if your investment and time in the project is really low, there's no real downside to it. Getting real worried and trying to Faraday cage everything you own is a waste of time. They make those whole house EMP shields. If you have the money, it's not the worst prep you can do. No, like if you look on the probability matrix, I honestly feel like having a EMP pulse destroy America is pretty damn low on the scale, right? That's why I don't go all in, and I don't really worry about it a whole lot. Lightning strikes are fairly common and have been known to royally fuck up people's houses. So if you have the money and you can get one of those EMP shields for your home to protect those power surges like that, that is not a bad prep to have. And the insurance policy on it, like if you have a lightning strike and your shit does get destroyed and you do have that, you have basically covered everything. So it's not a bad prep to have. Yeah, I wouldn't fault anyone for having it. Maybe if they would focus on that a bit more and less on the EMP things, I think people would be. There's a lot of like doomsaying and fear mongering in the prepping world that I tend not to deal with those companies. However, it is a solid product. Aftermath. Even if devices do survive, there's no grid, there's no internet, cell towers, or cloud. You're going to have everything offline. You can download offline maps on Google Maps, and there's a lot of things you can do to kind of, I've talked about it in the past. Maybe I've done articles or a podcast. There's a lot of things you can do to make your cell phone really survival optimized. And that's not a bad idea to do, right? Like if you do that. Also, you're going to have the ability to charge and maintain these things, right? Like having a backup survival phone with PDFs and whatnot and no way to keep it charged, why bother, right? So your phone might live, but without network, it's just a flashlight and a camera and a PDF viewer. There's a lot of things you can do with it. It's not complete garbage, but also if you're not charging it and you have no way to, it will be just a brick eventually. So I don't think that prepping for an EMP pulse is like as hyped and bad as some preppers make it out to be. I tend to think it as a slightly worse blackout with the potential of frying your home network. Time to come back on, it's a bit longer, but your car might start. And if you have stored gas and your car starts and you have an inverter, you can probably charge it. I didn't talk about it, but there's a good chance that your generator will still work, especially the more mechanical ones, the like Honda EU 2000s. Like we said, if they're not connected and they're sitting there by themselves, your chances of it surviving are pretty damn good. And if you want to do something to kind of Faraday cage it, maybe. But I think we've pretty well established it's probably fine, right? I will never fault you for having low-tech backups, hand tools, radios, printed map, cash, and fuel. Those are all solid preps. And I feel like it's if you're going all in and trying to like Faraday cage your house and everything you have and do all this and worry about it, I think it's just a waste of time and money. If you want to take some takeaways from it and add that to your general preps, I think that's fine. Just don't overinvest in EMP paranoia. Balance it out with practical redundancy. If your survival plan dies with your Wi-Fi, it was never a plan. That's a good one. So with that, this has been James for SurvivalPunk.com. If you enjoyed this episode, do consider joining the Survival Punk Army, which you can do for as low as $5 a month or as much as $50 per year, where your main benefit is you get exclusive discount to vendors, ebooks, and the episodes and convenient download zip files. DIY to survive, you guys.
Tires screech on the battered street, trash fires burning up the heat. Potholes deep enough to drown my soul. The world's been eaten by a black hole. DIY to survive and stay awake. Patch the holes before we break. No saviors coming, no heroes rise. We prep together under pitch black skies. Scrape the rust off a broken wire. Couple dreams in a field of tire. Sip stale coffee, punch the clock. The grind time that goes tick tock, tick tock. DIY to survive and stay awake. Patch the holes before we break. No saviors coming, no heroes rise. We prep together under pitch black skies. Pitch black skies. Strike hands and prepping plans. Scarred up knuckles, dirt on hands. It's been you, no shining nights. Winning this war in dim flashlight fights. Graffiti screaming truth on bricks. The rhythm of the world is skipping clicks. Economies of void just sucking us dry. We'll plant seeds of hope till the day we die.